Hey everyone, it's Rita with Everything Homemade, and I'm going to show you how to sprout the most beautiful microgreens to give any of your meals a little kick. This video is sponsored by Mom Sprouting Seeds. I have been using their seeds for years, so I reached out to them while I use their seeds to show you how to sprout them. And so they sent me some really cool stuff here. They gave me a few more sample seeds that I don't already have. They also gave me some wonderful microgreen trays. They gave me their signature product sprouter that utilizes a simple canning jar. They created this stand to hold it vertically so any excess water drips down. It creates really good air circulation for the seeds, and it comes with a wonderful little plate here. These are some examples that I will show you how to do. This is red clover, broccoli, an Eastern ancient blend. I'm going to be showing you how to do some wonderful pea sprouts and so much more. Mom Sprouting Seeds would also love to give anybody who wants to order off their website 10%. So you can use the code everything10. The only thing is they're updating their website this year, so that code can't be placed in the cart, but you can definitely give them a call or go on their website to their contact page and shoot them off a message. Say, hey, I just watched a video from Everything Homemade channel. I would really like to place an order. Could I use Everything 10? And they will assist you from there. So without further ado, let's have some fun and let's get sprouting. So today we're going to sprout broccoli, and you can see the seeds right here. You can see how tiny they are. So I'm going to show you how to sprout the broccoli with the canning jar and not a microgreen tray, as I find these really small seeds sprout beautifully using the canning jar method. You notice here that I have a lot of seeds in this container, and when I order from Moms, I always order bulk. So I have about a year to 2 years supply of seeds. So what you need to sprout broccoli seeds is a canning jar. This is a wide mouth canning jar. As you see here, I do have a stainless steel screen with a ring so that I can drain my seeds really easily. Mom sells these. The other thing is I also have a stand, and that's for the canning jar to sit on so you get thorough drainage. The first step to sprouting your broccoli seeds is to rinse your seeds. Now, all you need is a tablespoon and a half, and that will fill the entire jar full of sprouts. Once you got the seeds in your jar, you want to add a little bit of water. This is to wash the seeds because there's always dust on the seeds. I just give it a quick little swirl. Then I'll place my lid and screen back on. I'll grab a bowl. Now you can do this over your sink. I like to keep the water for my plants. Then what I will do is pour out the water. You can see here that the broccoli seeds are getting caught by the wire mesh. The wire mesh is very tightly woven, so it's good for all types of seeds. Okay, once that's done, you notice that your seeds will just kind of fall. Sometimes I just hit my jar and my seeds will fall there. Then what I'm going to do is add a little bit more water. Once again. And I'm just going to swirl it to get the seeds that were stuck on top. The key to broccoli seeds is not to over soak them. So I'm just going to swirl this a couple more times, and literally that is it. I'm going to drain again. I'm going to just let it drip for a couple of seconds here, and then I'm going to leave it The key to broccoli seeds is not allowing them to soak. Broccoli seeds, kale seeds, the cabbage family seeds, period, do not like being soaked in water. And you have noticed that if you watched the video before this that I did red clover and I soaked it for a couple of hours. You do not want to do these for these poor seeds. You will completely devastate the germination rate. So that's a big mistake that so many people make, is soaking the broccoli seeds, which you do not want to do. Now, what I like to do is not put my canning jar on the stand immediately because it drains too efficiently. So especially for the first 2 days. I like to leave it just like this on my counter. Now find a secure place so it doesn't roll off your counter. If you got cats or dogs that like to jump up, or where children can reach, you want to have this in a secure area. And you don't want it in direct light. This is a big key because if you work 12-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, if you sleep in one morning or something like that, your seeds will dry out if you have them like this on the stand, because the water is just going to drain and they're just going to dry out, and you cannot have them dried out. So I really like to put them like this for the first couple of days until they start rooting out and bulking up. Then I start to put them on their stand. So after you have this on your counter, what you want to make sure is that you water your sprouts morning and evening. I cannot stress how important it is to do this. And all it takes is a little bit of water in the jar, swirl it for like 2 seconds, and then dump the water out again. And you're doing that morning and night. And if you're at home, it doesn't hurt to give them a little swirl right in the middle of the day as well. So what you're going to see here in the first 24 hours is the seed breaking open. And it's really interesting how broccoli seeds do this. They kind of break open the shell at first. The next 12 hours after that, which is 36 hours, you'll notice that they'll open up more. You'll see a little root coming out. By 48 hours, you'll see a root coming out. And don't worry, that fuzzy little root is not mold. You'll notice that broccoli, kale, the cabbage family will have these fuzzy little roots compared to the red clover that you saw previously. And lots of people mistake it for mold and freak out at this point, but this is totally normal. Those are just really fuzzy root hairs. After 48 hours, give it another 12 hours and you'll start to see the first sign of leaves emerge. So would you take a look at these sprouts and you can see the transformation that has gone on. And the little bit of green that you see there is the first leaves starting to come out, and this is actually day 4. Usually it takes between 3 to 5 days to get to this point. The variable being how warm or how cool your house is depends on how fast things go. Once they get to this stage here where you can see a lot of the false leaves coming, take a look here, you can see the roots. Right here, you can see the roots. At this particular stage, the seeds kind of go gung-ho after. They just go insane. So usually, again, some variables with temperature and stuff like that, usually it takes about another 3 to 4 days to get to where you want to eat them. Now take a look at it this way. You can see how bulky it is. So at this particular stage, the biggest differences that I usually do is I can go down to once a day watering, depending on what I'm doing. If I am just keeping my canning jar face down like this, then I can go to once a day watering. Or if you're using the stand method, you definitely want to go to twice a day rinsing. So that's completely up to you. Now you can definitely notice that because of the bulk here, it's gonna hold a lot more moisture than it was before when you just had the seeds. So at this point, continue rinsing once to twice a day, and you'll start seeing an immediate transformation into those beautiful broccoli sprouts. From the last picture that I showed you, this is 3 days after. So these sprouts took about 6.5 days to get to this particular point where you can definitely see that they're filling out the canning jar. They've got really good color to them. This is when you want to eat them. You could have ate them a day ago, but I like to leave them when they're just starting to open up those leaves. I just find them really tasty. So definitely you could have eaten them yesterday or the day before, but for me, if I leave them just another 24 hours, they really start to bulk up some more, and then we begin to eat. Now, you want to store your sprouts, definitely, because you want to use this canning jar for the next set of sprouts. Because as you eat these, you want to be sprouting your next batch. So how do you store your sprouts? It's quite simple actually. Take it off the stand, and if you can see here, there's what I call them seed skins. You can call them seed husks. You can see the brownish reddish color. There's some more right there. These are all loose. So what I like to do is wash my sprouts, remove as many of these as we can, and then store it in the fridge. So let's do that. The first thing you need to have when you wash your sprouts is a bowl. The next thing you want to do is open up your canning jar and spill out your sprouts. And they come out very easily, as you saw. Then what I like to do is just break them up, because if you can see here, they are really, really tangled. Okay, so break them up a bit, and this will help loosen those skins that I showed you, because they're trapped, and broccoli sprouts really get tangled up in a nice web here. And you can also see here all the brownish red, that's all that husk that we're going to remove. You can actually see that on my hands too. It's sticking to my hands and my thumb. So the next thing you want to do is pour some water over your sprouts. Now this is cold water, and what I'm doing is I'm going to just swish them, and this also helps to break them up. You'll notice that your sprouts will break up a lot easier when they're submerged in water. Now what you want to do is strain your sprouts. Okay, so what I like to do, I like to give them a little swish, and then I like to take another container. You can do this over your sink as well. I'm just having a container here so it's a little easier to film. And then what I like to do is keep on moving your sprouts like I am. Then what happens is when you spill it out, most of those husks will come out. Just like that. And as you can see there, a lot of the skins came out from that rinsing. You have a little bit of sprouts in there, and I'll just fish them out. But it gets a lot of those skins, and I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm just going to discard this water here. I'm going to add fresh water once more to these sprouts. I'm going to again give it another swish. Remember, you're not going to get all of them. I'm doing this to get the majority. It's no problem if you eat these. Little bit of skins, I just like to clean it up a bit. Okay, so that looks pretty good. There's still a little bit left, but definitely we cleaned it up. Alright, and you can see again, even from the second time we did this, we got a lot more out. And you can do this 3 or 4 times if you like to clean it up even more. But for me, this is just perfect. Now that you got them rinsed, you need to store them. So what I have here is just a simple Pyrex container. It's got about 1.5 inches sides. I love using it to store my sprouts. So the next thing you need to do is have some paper towel. I have 2 sheets here. I'm just gonna fold it in half and then fold it in half once more, creating a rectangle, which fits perfectly into my container. Then what I want to do is I just give it a light spray with a spray bottle. You don't want it dripping wet. The big thing is you just need it moist enough where when I touch my fingers on it, I just make a little imprint, but it's not dripping wet. Then what I want to do is put my sprouts into my container here. And that's just as simple as grabbing them and placing them in, just like that. And look how much we got. Look at that. Beautiful. So I will store them in the fridge like this. They will keep up to 10 days. Now, I sometimes just put them in the fridge like this, or I have a lid here that I just put off on an angle. That way there's still air circulation for the sprouts. The biggest key is that you'd never ever want to seal your lid something like this. This is a big no-no. There's no air that can get into your sprouts, and therefore it gives it an environment for mold to grow. So you either make holes in your lid or you store your sprouts like that in the fridge, or you can just leave it open as well. So now that your sprouts are ready to be stored and eaten, here's another way on how I like to enjoy my broccoli sprouts.